friends, welcome back to the Finance Scribble. I have another 5 case study for you today. If you haven't seen the other ones, I'll link the playlist for you to go catch up on. These case studies are hypothetical and are made up numbers, but I feel like they could still be helpful if you are in a similar situation, so you can follow along and see where you might land. I would love to one day use actual numbers that you all send over in an anonymous form, but that'll be future state. If you enjoy videos like these, make sure you subscribe and come back weekly for more. Let me introduce you to Renee. Renee is a single 28-year-old living in San Diego, California. She works in marketing and makes $86,000 per year with expenses at $51,600 per year. Her total in retirement is $55,000 and no additional investments. I'm estimating that she would get a 4% raise per year and would invest 85% of what is left as savings after taxes, 401k deductions, healthcare expenses. All of those are taken out and expenses are subtracted as well. What is left is her savings, and I estimate she would invest 85% of it, and the 15% would go into sinking funds. A quick and simple way to get her financial independence number would be to take her expenses of $51,600 times 25 to get $1,290,000. It's a good starting point, but I like to do a more detailed calculation, taking into account increases in expenses, raises, and other variables so that Renee can have a more accurate number to strive towards. Now that we have all of Renee's details, let's hop into my 5 case study template to start inputting the numbers. First off, let's review what columns and fields we have here, starting with the 7% rate of return for our investments. On average, the stock market over a 10-year period has a 10% return, but I like to be a little conservative, so going with 7. Then we have 3% estimated inflation. I know it has been higher over the last few years, but this is a good standard number to go by for the long term. Next, we'll input her total invested amount, which is $55,000. Her estimated annual raise is 4%, and percent of savings invested is 85%, like we mentioned. Her 2023 annual expenses are $51,600. Next, let's fill out the columns below from left to right. We have year and calendar year to start. Then it's her salary of $86,000, and we subtract 30% from that to get her take-home salary. I use a conservative 30% estimate, which would include taxes, 401k contributions, healthcare expenses, and all of that to get her take-home salary. Her annual inflation expenses is the entire $51,600 since she rents, and rent could be impacted by inflation. So the annual expenses not impacted by inflation would be at 0. Typically, if you have a mortgage, that would be a bit higher, but since she rents, and then that's our total annual expenses. And then we have our annual savings, which is calculated by subtracting the annual expenses from take-home salary. Next is the annual invested, is, like we said before, 85% of her savings. Next, we have our total invested column, which takes the current investments of $55,000 and adds the annual invested column with the 7% rate of return from the market to get our total invested amount. The 4% withdrawal column tells us how much we can withdraw from our total invested if we want to stick with the 4% withdrawal rule to ensure we have enough money to see us through our entire retirement. The Find Fi column is basically helping us find where the 4% withdrawal equals or almost equals our annual expenses column so that our withdrawals can adequately pay for our expenses. Now, we'll let the spreadsheet do the calculations for us so that we can help Renee find her financial independence number and what year she might hit that number. Once we have all of the calculations in place, we can take a look at the Find Fi column and basically find where it has 1. We can scroll down and find the 1. It's telling us where our annual expenses and the 4% withdrawal is at a 1-to-1 ratio. So as you can see in this calculation, the 4% withdrawal is at $105,000 and the annual expenses is at $105,000 and in the year 2053, which is 30 years from today. So Renee will hit FI in 2053 with a total of $2.6 million invested. $2.6 million. Even this number is not the full picture as life happens and things change. If Renee finds a partner later or decides to have kids or buy a home or gets a new job with a big pay bump, this number will change with all those changes. So it'll be important to revisit this once a year or so to make sure it is still relevant. That's it for today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe and come back weekly for new videos. Thanks for watching. Happy scribbling. Bye.